I think we've all been waiting for this day for a very, very long time. I was actually meant to blow dust off this, but I couldn't find any flour in the villa and I only had sugar and I thought that mosquitoes might get me. So I meant to do so long, in fact, I started writing these notes back when you first announced the first once in a lifetime trip. And I've had to update them after every single one. Don't get me wrong, the proposal on the ski trip in Austria was incredible. But I think all of us have had about 5 collective heart attacks over the years, fully expecting this moment to happen. Let's take a little bit of a quick look back. Starting off, a safari in Kenya. Surely that must be it. Hot air balloons at sunrise over Cappadocia. Hope I said that right. The Maldives. Come on now, if not when. Back to a safari, but this time South Africa. And Mum even actually had the itinerary for this one. We were rapidly checking the group chat. Lastly, New York helicopter over a skyline. Really thought that was going to be the moment. So when Jamie casually mentioned at Christmas that he might propose on the next ski trip, we all mentally lit a candle and whispered, please let this be it. And here we are. The moment has finally arrived. And honestly, it's worth the wait. They say good things take time and great things take Jamie a few international trips. It makes sense though. All those once in a lifetime trips added up to a once in a lifetime wedding. You guys are absolutely couple of gold. And now it's official. Welcome to the family.
I'm Zoe's mum. Hello. Well, Zoe came into the world 8 weeks early. A little surprise, a little star, a little feisty adventurer. And yes, as you've already heard, she's been an adventurer all her life. Never afraid to do different things outside of her comfort zone. And when Kevin and I decided to get married in 2016, Zoe had already planned a big adventure to Bali. So she couldn't attend our wedding. However, serendipity, if she had, she would never have met Jamie in Bali. So that was very good. And since then, and you've already said, back and forwards, trips to Dublin, trips to Liverpool, and even a parasite worm in your leg didn't deter Zoe from wanting to be with you. And so, on to Dubai. A long distance relationship at first as Zoe stayed at home. And then a long list of do's. Should she go? Should she stay? We did the list. And it was inevitable that it would. Yes, I'm going to go. And since then, up and up. And welcome everyone. All these people that have come to see you today and travelled all this way. It's amazing. It's amazing that you've planned all this. It's fabulous. Best day of our lives. And thank you very much. Onwards and upwards.
Right, first of all, I would like to thank every single person here today for taking the time out and effort to come over here and celebrate Zoe and Jamie's wonderful wedding that I'm damn sure we're all enjoying. So thank you all so much. It's not depressing though, but I just want to say a little thing about certain people that aren't here. There's 2 Sheilas and a John that aren't here, which one Sheila's my mother and the other Sheila is the grandparent and mother of Jen and Sally and the father. I just want them to feel that they're involved as well, and wherever they are, I'm damn sure they are, and they would massively, they know the pair of them, and approve of it. So I just want them to be involved as well. And Mr. Small, John, don't worry, it's not going to cost you anything. Whatever you know. We will now go on to, I do have to say a few things. So one is Uncle Steve sends his best wishes and love, and he has actually given me some money to give to you as a wedding present, which I won't give you now, I'll give you at a different time. I don't know what you can get with €2. What can you get with €2? But anyway, I will pass it on. There is a request for the catering staff. Reggie did ask me, please put chicken nuggets on the menu. Has that been done? Oh, and I would also say the other little person of here, the flower girl here, young Elsie. I think she's done a fantastic job. It's been a long day. Goes without saying about the bridesmaids, beautiful as ever, and they've done a fantastic job as well. So Kim and Kate. I'm not going to dwell on Zoe too much because I'm biased, absolutely 100%. Jen did actually touch on a story down there. Something stick in your mind for years and are very, very clear. Mine is exactly what Jen said. All those years ago, we were at Alder Hey Hospital, so we did have to go in for an operation. And I just remember this porter saying to us, this tiny little baby going through and just saying to us, it's okay, don't worry about it. It's an operation. It was a big operation. But don't worry about it. Kiss your baby goodbye and it'll be fine. And I thought, wow. And this man was a porter. He wasn't a physician. He wasn't a doctor. He was just a normal human being doing his job. And I just felt so comfortable and at ease. Do you know what I mean? And ever since, all those people that have ever done, and look at the result of that. Look what we've ended up with. I mean, this is where we are. So, I am not going to say any more because I'm biased. So I won't say anything more about you. Jamie. Oh, dear. Good looking, charming, handsome, generous, fantastic host. But that's enough about me, so I'll talk about you. The first time I met Jamie, so when Jamie had been out for a meal in Southport, Pam and I picked him up. We stopped off, had a little drink on the way home, had a chit chat. And I mean this in the right way. I thought I'd known Jamie all my life. It was like so easy to talk to, so charming, and I just felt, I know this boy, do you know what I mean? And all those that have known him for years will know the same, and all those that are now getting to know him will know exactly the same as well. So I think, yeah. And I have now 3 son-in-laws. Joe, Danny, and now Jamie joins here, so I get to keep the match ball. Oosh! Pick the bones out of that one. But on that note, I will pass it on to the next person. Thank you all so much for being a part of this. Love you all. Enjoy the rest of the night and the holiday. Thank you very much.
Woo! We love you, Chris. Woo!
Thank you, Chris.
I'm not going to be as brave as Chris and Jen and do it off by heart. I'm going to read it. But first off, a message from your granny and granddad. They love you both very much and they just wish you every happiness and love in the world. And they would have loved to have been here. But when Jamie was just a baby, he had a habit of holding out both hands. If he had a rattle in one hand, he had to have one in the other hand. Move on a few years and it was the same, whether it was a toy, sweets, even a bit of broccoli. He was a bit weird. Whatever it was, he always reached out with both hands. I think that even then, all those years ago, I knew he would always reach out for everything life had to offer. After school, he reached out and took the opportunity to travel to the US. Not long after, he reached out again, this time taking the opportunity with both hands to travel to Asia. Trekking through jungles and exploring islands with dragons, and then meeting in Bali an amazing woman who would today become his wife. A few years after, he took another opportunity to visit Dubai, and on coming home, I clearly remember him saying, "Mum, I want that life." True to form, reaching out, both hands, he went to college, head down, and left with first class honours. He then left for Dubai, a country of opportunity. Zoe has been with him since, meeting on that little island in Bali, supporting and encouraging him, flying back and forth to be by his side, until one day she reached out and took the opportunity and made the move to Dubai. It was a bold, beautiful leap. Over the years, visiting them has been one of my greatest joys. Watching them grow as individuals and as a couple has been a true privilege. Today, they once again grabbed life with their hearts and love, and I couldn't be more proud to witness it. It's my great honour to welcome Zoe officially into our family. Although from the start, Zoe captured our hearts, especially mine, and always felt like family. Jamie and Zoe, I love you both more than words can say, and I am beyond happy for you. So, Full Sharoat and Thylak, welcome to the family, everybody.
Hi everyone, we're the sisters of the bride. I'm Kim, the older sister.
And I'm Kate, the youngest sister. So growing up with Zoe was like having a built-in best friend. We were either like bestest friends ever or arch enemies. Because there was three of us, we were either there was always two of us who were best friends at the same time, and we used to gang up on the other one. Zoe was usually the instigator on ganging up. And me and Zoe shared a bedroom as children, and we either pushed our single beds together to make a big double bed, and we had like best friend sleepovers, or we had our beds the opposite sides of the room, and we put masking tape in the middle and a shower curtain. And if someone crossed the middle line, it was literally World War III. So we spent a lot of our childhood with our nan and granddad, who are sadly no longer with us, and we miss very much. We were often pulling our mattresses down the stairs and making slides, and Zoe, being Zoe, often would be very sneaky and trick our nan and granddad and make them lovely cups of tea with like little secret ingredients in, so often a bit of salt in there, a bit of vinegar, a bit of Worcester sauce, whatever she fancied, she'd add it in there. Didn't tell them, and often they'd just go, "Oh, this is really nice." So Zoe is always sneaky, but she has the ability to get away with things. And our nan always said she didn't have favourites, but we all knew that Zoe was her number one.
Yeah. So, there are too many funny stories about Zoe, but come to us later if you want to know about the time Zoe pooed on the doormat.
I want to come to you later for that story.
Sorry, Zoe.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
You're done later.
But on a serious note, we are so proud of Zoe. She's always been the brave one, the first to travel, the first to take risks, to speak her mind, whether you want to hear it or not, really. She's come a long way from selling 49p cards at the card factory to wiping shitty horses at the care. Oh dear. To building...
Say it again. Go on, say it again.
So, she's come a long way from selling 49p cards at the card factory, which is a shop, and wiping pooey arses at the care home, to building a beautiful life in Dubai with Jamie and Zoe and finding her passion in Pilates. When Zoe came home from her travels and told us she'd met someone in Bali, we knew something was different, and when we met Jamie, we understood why. He was the charming Irish guy who was grounded and kind, and you could tell he adored Zoe. We were so relieved, as let's just say, there were definitely a few frogs before she found her prince. And maybe even a toad or two.
There was a few.
You can ask us later.
Jamie, it's been obvious from the start how much you love and support Zoe. You balance her out in all the right ways. Plus, you let Freddie sleep in the bed, so you're 100% a keeper. Zoe, you deserve the world, and Jamie, we're so happy that you're by her side. So here's to Zoe and Jamie, to a love that feels like home, no matter where in the world you are.
Have all the drinks been filled? We're going to be here a while. No, I'm serious. We're going to be here a while. Hence, I've got an iPad in front of me. I actually tried to write it down and put it into ChatGPT, just get a summary to see how long it would take if I was to write it, and it said about 2.5 hours, so I didn't do that. So forgive me, I'm going to use the iPad. I'll do my best to look at you all, but unfortunately, or fortunately, there's an awful lot to say, which I cannot memorize too often in such a structured way, so I'm going to do my best here for you all. Friends and family, thank you all for being here today. It means the world to Zoe and I to be surrounded by the people we love most, celebrating the best day of our lives so far. A quick toast to those who couldn't be here today, Freddie being the one, obviously, who refuses to fly economy. It's too wolf, yeah. I should have threw that one in there. My grandparents who were unable to travel, and also I'm kind of glad about it because the heat is very, very hot. And to Zoe's both late grandparents. Sheila in particular, who recently passed. I know how proud she'd be of you, Zoe. I can hear her right now calling you lovely girl as you sit here looking so beautiful today. Now, I want to take a little moment. When I say a little moment, it's one of those things where someone says a long story short, and it's actually never really a short story. It's very long. About how myself and Zoe got here today. Zoe and I met in Bali on August 17, 2016, on a backpacking trip. At a point in my life when I was very focused on completing a 3-year degree with Dubai as my end goal, I made a rule, no girlfriends. Just focus, and I stuck pretty well to that. Until my last year of college, I still remember the day I met Zoe thinking, oh no, I'm in trouble here. Now I know it sounds like a bit of a start of a rom-com, but I promise you, it was very real, very sweaty. Bali's very hot. But it was completely unexpected. We stayed at a place called my mate's place. As we waited for our rooms, all mixed by the way, I saw Zoe and I couldn't take my eyes off her. I tried to play it cool, making eye contact with her, without showing too much interest, thinking that's probably what she was used to. Spoiler alert, that didn't work. Later that day, I went out in a boat party. I lost absolutely everything. My phone, my wallet, and my dignity. With nothing else to do, I doubled down on the booze and full of fake confidence, I walked back into my mate's place, went straight up to Zoe and said, "Are you going out tonight?" Zoe has since confirmed that it was that bullshit confidence that first got her attention. That night, a group of us, about 15, ended up sitting on a circle on the beach. Zoe sat opposite to me, next to some guy who had a very big crush to her, who also flown in as a surprise. Didn't think I'd mention that, did you? At this point, I thought the odds were absolutely against me, until a friend of mine said, "What's to lose?" So I got up and plonked myself right in between them. I looked at him, smiled, and then turned to Zoe. He left within 5 minutes. He also forgot his shoes. I also forgot my shoes when we left. And I refused to leave without them. Zoe joined me in searching all over Gilly T Beach, and that's when we really got to know each other. One of those cliche long walks. I learned that Zoe had travelled all over the world, building houses in Africa, supporting kids at Camp America, and visiting the Galapagos Islands all by herself. I knew then she was both cool and very interesting. Now, I was very interested, but I still couldn't get a kiss. The following night, we went out to a club. To say I don't have rhythm is an absolute understatement. You'll all find out later on, by the way. So there's no hope of pulling out dance moves to impress her. All I had was the old finger pointing in the air and the old head bop. Eventually, I realised Zoe wasn't impressed and it wasn't working out, so I left the club. Later that evening, Zoe bumped into me on the street, presenting a Kinder Egg, which ended up being a gesture of love. And now it's my time to give you back the gesture of love. The next morning, we were due to check out, but we extended our stay for 2 more nights. 3 of us ended up being split up into multiple different rooms. Now you can guess what happened next, but if you can't, don't worry, I'm going to tell you. Room 4F, I haven't forgotten it, had 1 bed left in it, and I immediately claimed it. No one else could stop me, and I strolled on into 4F with a big smile on my face. Who's there? Zoe. Would you look at that? What are the chances? You definitely knew. Eventually, I left as originally planned and headed off to explore some of the other islands, which was Lombok. We kept in touch over Facebook. As you remember, I don't have any phone at this point, but I did have my laptop, thankfully. But at this particular point in my holiday, things started to go downhill, which Jen has already touched off earlier on, which I'll get into in just a moment. As if losing my phone and bank card wasn't enough, I had a pretty rough motorbike or moped accident at this particular stage. I ended up in a shack with a tin roof, someone shaving the wound in my cut with a rusty Stanley blade and some loosely stitched up cuts. At this particular point, this later became a massive issue when I returned back to Ireland, but that's a story for another day. And all I'll say was my nickname was Larvey Harvey for a particular time. Now, as you can all imagine, I'm at a very low point in my trip at this stage. Struggling to stay very positive, we arrived back to Kuta. Kuta's in Bali. At this particular stage, I'm walking up the street. One of the lads says, "Chin up, Jamie. At least Zoe's here now." And I looked up and there she was, completely unplanned, and my spirits were now up at this point. However, Zoe was rushing to the toilets at McDonald's because one of her friends had a dodgy tummy, which later turned out was actually Zoe who really needed the loo. Poo, loo, whatever you want. All the same at the end there. Later that day, I did message Zoe asking her to meet her for a drink, just the two of us, like on a first date. I set a time and I set a place. Time had passed and still no word. I sat with Danny at the end. There he is, hiding in the back there. I sat with Danny watching a couple of YouTube videos that evening when he said, "Have you refreshed the screen?" And I said, "No, it doesn't work like that. Does it?" So I refreshed the screen, not only to find Zoe had said yes, but she was also there, waiting and about to leave. So I scrambled my stuff and ran down the street to meet her when we chatted and drank all night together. At this particular point, you can imagine I now knew something was real was happening. What started as a holiday encounter turned into something very much more. So much more, in fact, we decided to make a long-distance relationship work between Ireland and the UK. I didn't just find myself in a relationship, I found myself battling Ryan every week, and I think you'll all agree that's honestly a ward in itself. Sometimes, I would actually miss those flights on purpose, because I did know that a few more hours together was always worth it. Even if I like to work and blame Ryanair on those technical issues. It wasn't always easy, particularly when I moved to Dubai and the time zones changed and stressed even more, but love made it simple. Danny, thank you for welcoming Zoe in. You and I had barely been living together for less than a month when I switched up the house arrangement and Zoe moved in. You could have objected and you didn't, and we appreciate it. Didn't expect that, did you? As we entered a very strange time and the world shut down, we had two options: drive each other mad or make the most of it. And I can confidently say we made the most of it and became a weird little family. Some call him our adopted son. Freddie sometimes gets jealous. Zoe had introduced us to a thing called lavender tea, commonly known as night-night tea, to help us sleep. Danny became such a fan, he used it as a pickup line. He used to chat up ladies at bars and ask them if they wanted to come back to 1506 for a cup of night-night tea. Imagine how creepy that was. Myself and Zoe used to wake up in the morning finding ripped up packets of 2 night-night teas and know Danny had had success. Since then, we've moved home and built a life there, making memories, laughing endlessly, and of course, welcoming Freddie, who I know absolutely adores you. To the bridesmaids and to the flower girl, Kate, Kim, and Elsie, you all look absolutely gorgeous today. I know how much this means to Zoe, and seeing you by her side today has meant the world to me and to herself. To our parents, thank you for raising us with both love and supporting a relationship, even when it spanned across time zones and airport terminals. Chris, you may have said that we met the first time at that particular cafe or the restaurant. That wasn't the first time. So I'm going to tell you. I'm going to first off thank you for the lift. I'm not sure if you remember, which clearly you don't. On the first trip to Liverpool, I got Wi-Fi while waiting for my bags. A message from Zoe came through. My dad is going to pick you up. Nervous enough, I walked up to the car to see Chris there with a pink mohawk, which certainly made me think I'm in trouble. But you welcomed me right in and I instantly felt at home, so thank you, Chris. Jen, thank you for welcoming me into your home. You immediately made me feel at ease since the day we met. And I still haven't forgot the day I came home, or the days I came home from work, to find you fully kitted out in my clothes, to only act as if nothing was wrong. So please, continue with those pranks. Dad, thank you for introducing me to football. It's where I first learned many values that I carry with me today. There are a couple of things you've said over the years that have always stayed with me, both in life and in work. What you put in, you get back tenfold, and your handshake is your word. Stand by it. Kerry, thank you so much for the lovely words today. Even if I got roasted for a minute or two, you really touched Zoe and I's hearts. You look fantastic this evening, and I know you don't hear me saying those things very often, so don't get used to it. But to see the woman you've become today, hardworking and happy, makes me so proud, and that's all a big bro could ask for. Mum, unfortunately, time's too short, so I have to keep this brief. But I already know you know how I understand how I feel. Where do I even begin? I mean, your date of birth is tattooed on my wrist as a constant reminder you're always with me. You've been my rock, and I've always been able to count on you. You've shown up, stood by me, and fought for me, time and time again. All I can say is thank you. You mean the world to me, and I hope you just know how much I appreciate everything you've done. Now, my granddad once said, we're millionaires. Maybe not financially, but certainly in love. And family is absolutely everything, and he constantly reminds me of this. And I'm proud to say today that the family now includes the Charlton and Small clan. Today, to the rest of my family and friends, thank you for being a part of our journey. Your support, laughter, and love for our slightly chaotic love story means absolutely everything to us. Zoe, my wife. Crazy, eh? You are the kindest, most loving, forgiving, and beautiful person I've ever known, inside and out. You've made every mile, every moment, and every sacrifice worthwhile. Being loved by you has been the greatest gift. Your support is nothing short of perfection. I feel absolutely unbelievably lucky to be standing here today, standing by you with our next chapter ahead of our lives together. So if you'll all raise a glass together to my beautiful wife and a lifetime of love, friendship, and unforgettable memories. To Zoe. Thank you. Hope it wasn't too long.
All right, ladies and gents, friends and family, could we have your attention for just another moment? Don't worry, this is the last speech of the evening, so we're not going to drag things on too long. So for those of you who don't know us, we are your two best men for the evening. My name is Harry.
And I'm Jack, and don't worry, we'll promise to keep this shorter than Jamie's list of injuries over the last 10 years.
First of all, on behalf of the happy couple, we'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone for making it here today to celebrate with all of us. It's been lovely to meet you all over yesterday and today, and although I've never seen so many fans in the air at one time, waving aggressively, despite the heat, we've got through it all, and I think it's gone pretty smoothly.
Well, yeah. Speaking of which, it's been brilliant to get to know all the bridal party and all as always, all his friends. You all look fantastic. Now, a massive amount of work has gone into organising this week, and Zoe and Jamie, we'd just like to say thank you guys so much for rounding us all together to celebrate this amazing wedding. We really appreciate everything you've done, and look around, it was clearly worth it. Like, who do we think we are? Jamie, you can finally relax and let your hair down.
Unclench those butt cheeks, mate. Now, you might be wondering why there are two best men standing up here today. So to give you a bit of context, Jamie is my oldest friend. We've known each other for about 26, probably going on 27 years now at this stage, not to give ourselves away, Jay. We became best mates the very first day of primary school, and we haven't looked back since. Then this another Jack joined us about 2 years later, and we've been joined at the hip ever since.
Yeah, that's right. This little trio goes back away, which might be the reason that you have two of us standing here today. I think it's because Harry may have forgotten what day the wedding was on, and Jamie likes to cover his bases.
You're an organised man, Jay, and we know there's precedent for that. On a more serious note, James, Karen, thank you for everything you've done for us while we were growing up and figuring out life together. We know you only signed up to raise one boy, but somehow you ended up with 3. We're so grateful for all the good times that we shared in your home, and you always made that home feel like it was ours too.
This is just a quick word to Karen. I think you might be the nicest human on the planet. You're so bubbly, so caring, and you always look after everyone else. You know, I used to find it really fucking weird when people say you marry someone like your mum. It's fucking weird, right? Sorry.
Laggers there, buddy. There's kids in the crowd.
But the more I got to know Zoe, the more I realised the amazing traits these two shared, and that Jamie just absolutely adores a sweetheart.
So, I think it's only fitting that we need to put our hands together one more time for the beautiful bride, Zoe. Here, everybody. Zoe, it's been said 100 times already tonight, but you truly do look stunning. So to move on from the happy couple for a moment, we're going to take a brief detour and talk about our best mate, Jay.
As some of you may have gathered from stories tonight and from your own personal experiences with Jamie, you wouldn't think it, but he wasn't always the luckiest guy. He's so accident prone that we nicknamed him the Glass Man. Honestly, Jay, I'm shocked you're not in the sling here tonight. But that being said, you're the only man I know who can injure himself sitting down, so bets aren't off.
And you got the number for the local ambulance around there?
I remember that trip to EOS when we were 20, and I swear he spent more time in the medical centre than at the bar. He can turn a simple night out to an episode of Casualty, and has dislocated his shoulder more time than Mo Salah has scored for Liverpool. Chris, I actually thought you were a Liverpool fan when I wrote this, but...
Good. Now, we've known Jamie through many phases of his life, but a personal favourite of mine has to be what we dub the pretty boy era. Nothing catches this time better than a story from Christmas Day when one of Jamie's neighbours walked into his house and saw 2 stockings lying on the couch. One for Jamie, one for Kerry. In one of those stockings was filled to the brim with football boots, jerseys, and shin pads. Now you'd probably think that stocking would be Jamie's, but no, that was his sister Kerry's. Jamie's, on the other hand, was filled with a hair straightener, face masks, and for good measure, I think Santa might have thrown in a tampon or two because he didn't know how this guy was swinging. Gary, honestly, it surprised everyone when you turned out to be the gay one. Getting ready for a night out back then was a true spectacle. That hair straightener got put to good use daily. Jamie had a mullet, a shoulder-length mullet, which he would straighten 90-degree angle down to his shoulders. And then he would spike up just the crown area of his head, only, at a perpendicular angle. And he would flatten his fringe right down to his eyebrows. And he'd top all that off with some red Dax wax. And he would have that sculpture on his head, immovable. Cement. There could be a hurricane flying by and that thing wouldn't budge. Wouldn't move.
But that was just the hair, man. The outfit, that was a masterpiece. So what he used to do is he used to go into the bedroom, take his socks right the way up his leg, almost touching his knee.
Maybe the thigh.
Pick his favourite Adidas tracksuit, had one in every colour, Adidas Originals only. He'd go into Kerry's room, get a few hair bobbins, bring them halfway up his shin, tuck the tracksuit right up into the hair bobbins, just to show off the white kicks he had on that day. Now, Jay, my favourite part about that is that you finished getting ready and you looked in the mirror and you went, fuck, that's it. I'm the fucking man. That's it.
That's the number. That's the ticket right there. So then came the true grit era. From the ripe old age of 15, Jamie got a job at his local pub, shifting beer kegs out the back. He then moved on from that lovely job to shifting more pallets than a forklift at his local supermarkets and stores. Now, these jobs weren't easy, but Jay still trucked through it. And I think it was during this period of his life that Jay realised he wanted more for himself. But the money he earned from those tough jobs funded his entire college degree. Now, this was a different kind of challenge for Jay. This wasn't physical. I think the manual labour, though, did something to your physique, mate, because you're the only person I know who can walk past a gym and the six-pack starts growing. You were never the most academic of men, I think that's fair to say. But you put yourself through college, and in the end, you got a first-class honours degree, as we've already heard here today. When you finished that degree, you had your heart set on the desert, and when the opportunity came to move to Dubai, you grabbed that and never looked back. For the first time ever, because we like to keep people humble in our group, we just want to say, me and Jack, we're incredibly proud of you, Matt.
So proud, Matt. Now, Zoe, it may come as a little bit of a shock to you, but you weren't the first girl Jamie kissed. There were one or two others before he met you, or the entire floor of Wesley Disco on one night when he got that mullet right. He's quite the lover boy. I remember one night, though, Jamie turned to me, this is a bit after Wes now, he turned to me, he said, "Did that guy just stare at my bird?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "He did." I said, "Okay." And like any good mate, I followed him. I approached your man behind his shoulder, but like anything, Jamie, full passion, he went into a head first and we got kicked out straight away. So there we were, a group of about 20 of us in the laneway outside the club, just chatting, and suddenly some random lad comes sprinting down the lane. For no reason at all, turns, smacks Mr. Lucky right in the face, slapped him. Not the best jaw. But then your man just kept running. I don't know really where he thought he was going to go. Danny down there can run a kilometre in under 3 minutes. 42 kilometres in a row.
Shout out to Mo Farah at the back.
Yeah, he was goosed. Needless to say, he didn't make it to the end of the laneway. But why am I telling you this? Because for most people, you get kicked out of a club on a night out, your night ends there. Curry chips, gone. Taxi, maybe a cry. But not Jay, no. 20 of us, not the 3 of us here today, 20 of us followed him out of that club. And that just says everything about Jamie. We'd all follow to the end of the fucking earth. Every time, and it's only reciprocal, man.
So moving past those shenanigans, along came Zoe, and everything clicked into place, I would say. As a couple, they're a perfect match. They've survived long distance. They've travelled the world together. I'm sure every one of us here follow them on Instagram, so you're all clued in on that. They've built a home together, and they've even adopted their very own dog, Freddie, who's been mentioned multiple times tonight. Well, let's just be honest, guys. That's just practice for the real thing.
But what was it about Zoe? Jamie and a few others gave you the cute version tonight. Oh, I've lost myself here now, 1 second. But he forgot to mention the pivotal characters that made this love story. Fran, G and Kelsey. Jean, mate, not G. Where would Jamie and Zoe be without your arts and crafts skills? We can't forget the legendary papier-mâché gift. While they were doing the long distance and Zoe wanted to really cement down this relationship, Zoe and her friends created a life-size sculpture of Zoe's famous posterior and mailed it to Jamie. Now, he displayed this proudly on top of his bookcase in his parents' house for everyone to see.
Centre of the shelf.
Centre shelf. And we first saw this and asked, "What's that?" Jamie told us this story without a hint of shame. And we knew right then and there, this is true love.
Jay, over the years, you've become an incredible man. You've taken responsibility. You look after those around you, especially those you love like your family, and you inspire all those around you as well. Watching you complete a year without alcohol just recently and throw yourself into a new challenge, because why not? A guy like you likes a challenge, right? Of triathlons, and sharing your journey online has been an amazing thing to witness as a friend. We've had so many people come up to us and tell us how much they admire you and what you're doing too. You're on the right path, and you couldn't have a better partner to share in that with.
It's clear to us all. It's clear to us all that you're able to do this best version of yourself because of the woman sitting beside you today. A good friend is like a star. You can't always see them, but you know they're always there. You're an absolute star, bud.
So please, everyone, one last time for the evening. Can you raise a glass?
To Jamie and Zoe.
To Jamie and Zoe.